One of the things I'm going to suggest that we do to get more respect and get noticed more is to make sure that we lead with the main point rather than save it for the bottom line. Give them the headline instead and save the backup for later if necessary. Men, therefore, favor those short, succinct phrases where women have a tendency, because of how they go about doing business, that they take all of this information and they see all the details and then they pull all those details together in order to communicate what they want to say. And when we do that, we often tell a story. And when we tell a story, we often save the best for what? Last, which drives men insane. I was sharing this information once with another group, and I had a gentleman come up to me afterwards, and he said, you know what, I serve on an airline board. And there was our one token woman on the board with us, and she was sharing a story, and it was going, and I quote him, on and on and on. And he mentioned that one of the consultants at the table actually turned to her and said, excuse me, but does this story have an ETA? Now, when you think about that, what in that moment just happened to her credibility? Think about in that moment, if instead she would, instead of crumbling, if she would have said, you know what, you're right, it is taking a long time for this plane to land. Let me summarize. She could have had it all back right then and there. But what is my point? Get to the point. I was out doing a ride-along for a major pharmaceutical in order to go in and do a sales presentation for their team. And this female sales rep was a rock star. She took a situation, turned it around, and saved the sale. But yet when she walked back into the office, she had a male supervisor, and he turned to her and he said, how did it go? Well, what was he really asking? Yeah, did you get the sale? And she said, well, you'll never guess what happened. And launched into the story. Where if she had simply said, you know what, yes, I closed the sale, however, there were some challenges I'd love to share with you at some point when you have the time. Again, succinct, brief, focused. She comes across as being much more effective in what she's doing. So when we're communicating with the men, the more linear that we can be, the more likely we're going to get heard.